Welcome to the Funky Alien Explaining. I've spent many years actually working on a system of association, i.e., correspondence, existing in between the English alphabet and the lists of symbolism in the Order of the Golden Dawn. Nowadays, that means that I make what I still call sigils, even though, well, frankly, it's not chaos magic anymore, that use the actual information within the Golden Dawn to make sense of the whole thing. For instance, the word star exists of an added together symbolism of 636. You could go 6 plus 3 is 9, so 96. And 90 being tzaddah in Hebrew, the fishhook, is in a way catching on to what the 6 stands for. The 6 being the hierophant in the tarot would mean a source of wisdom. And thereby, if you wanted to simplify things a little, wisdom itself. Through such, we learn that the nature of the star is to continually upgrade its own capacity for wisdom. Now, this is very much something I did not know in detail before I wrote down the word star itself and saw that it had the following number of values: 500, 600, 1, and 30. Now, these number values have been gotten at through means of the link existing now between the English alphabet and the existing values within the Order of the Golden Dawn. These allow one to make sense of anything one can put in the English alphabet by use of it. This means also transliterations, like for instance the word telogvovim in Okian, because you could still put that in actual letters of the English alphabet. Also, it allows me to turn anybody's name into a set, if not single, tarot card itself. This then, with the addition of some meditation, allows one to greatly increase the capacity to understand Sada. And what is going on is that you're getting ever more deeply involved with the magical idea of, well, the camel. That's 2 times 3, meaning the mage 2 and the camel, which is 3. Now, the camel itself can stand for a caravan moving through the desert from A to B, being able and willing to sell its goods, i.e., what it has going for it, in another location. That multiplied by 2 allows one to use one's baggage, as it were, in a magical way. As it turns out, such baggage are the actual talents we all have, even though they differ. Now, such is directly gotten out of this particular depth of connection in between the letters and the symbolism. I am capable of creating vastly complicated sigils this way, also because having a number value, having these lists in the Golden Dawn, allows me to put together a new symbol, a sigil, like a verre, out of the graphical display of the 5 elements, the 12 zodiac signs, and the planets. Now, I say 5 because I use an updated form that uses both the 3 original, Aleph, Mem, Shin, and new ones that relate to what are called the Sophit letters. They deal with plurals in Hebrew. They're in use in the Ayik, but that takes a little bit too much time to get into. However, that done with the English alphabet, you'd have 26 different letters to associate meaning to. Now, what does that then still have to do with the Hebrew Qabalah? Well, if you multiply 26 by 2, and thereby have room for both the lower and the uppercase letters, you'd have 52 different places for symbolism. That allows the 22 plus these 5 end letters to have room, and there to be room left for the system of 25 letters we'll go into at some later date. It does exist, even though I had to create it myself, and it took me years to do so, over 25 by now, but that does exist. And then what you get is, it's a simple sigil like this, gotten out of writing down the symbolism involved with the number values, and then using the lines these symbols exist of to put together a graphic display like this, out of the lines that the graphical symbols are made out of. It can get a lot more involved than that, where, for instance, you have, say, this, which still has that central sigil derived at the same way, and all these as well, although their origin is bibliomantic. And these are gotten out of a specifically created magical square of the number value that this is made out of. These are geomancy symbols. That's, of course, Libra. That's Jupiter. That's, of course, Venus. And then we have Saturn here. In fact, were you to want to, you could create a specific pact with an entity, not costing you a soul, by the way. You could do that by seriously feeding energy into a specific desire of the entity you're working with, and thereby custom make their reward. And in return, they'll help you out. Now, this is a way that relates directly to things that have already gotten done, with the exception being that these are not, comparing it to chaos magic, these are not one-shots. Chaos magic will allow you to create sigils, but they're only useful up until that energy is depleted. With these, you pour in new energy, and they work again. Experimentation of the last 20-some years, with about 12 of those being dedicated to playing poker online and winning rather much, with a sigil created for such particular purpose, which, by the way, black and white and simple like the first one I showed you, allows me, when fully charged and not opposed, to win about 8 to 9 hands in a row, and has seen me make it into the World Champions League in the most popular poker game online, Zynga Poker. Now, this doesn't always just work for such. It can be applied to any and every single last thing you need any help with. I had a friend whose dog wasn't toilet trained right. It worked. I had a friend, or at least an acquaintance, who wanted things to be kind of more peaceful around him. It worked. Almost every single last time, except for once when I just did it out of friendliness towards the person involved, I have been paid on a no cure, no pay basis with these specific sort of custom made sigils. This is a matter that I wrote a book about that will come out soon. It's either fully done or very, very close. And with that information in the book, you're allowed and capable of making your own sigils. And there is nobody telling you you can't do anything with it. If you have the meaning to something and are able to get it more deeply, You can create your own rituals or do anything you basically want as long as it relates to this valid information. With such, it could be the diving off point towards what might even become a magical renaissance. As such, this particular method is of the 5 minutes and you're done sort with a sigil. Any depth you want to glean out of the number value, if not the symbolic value, is definitely supported by wisdom option, and you're able to make your own sort of decisions as to which particular information you're going to use. Say, if you wanted to work with minerals or legal drugs or Hindu gods, Greek gods, Egyptian gods, anything like it whatsoever, reducing by means of what is called theosophic reduction down to a simpler number allows you to relegate that number directly to anything that the Golden Dawn was wise enough to write down in those tables. And there's vast amounts of information readily available through means of such. So thereby, I ask you to watch this video, see how I do things myself in the following video, and definitely thereby take your own future in hand and make something happen that maybe otherwise you wouldn't take seriously enough.